So, working title, EA is at it again with with their bullshit. Welcome to Reactive Reload, a radio show you're always on time for. I'm just one of your hosts, Irish Cowboy, joined by your other host, Crossover. We are going to be reloading the gaming news from last week or so and reacting to it. I know. We're going to be talking post-Gamescom, NVIDIA, maybe some German lessons. Our pal Blood will hang out with us for a bit. And for the main event, the executioner of enjoyment, EA. I'm fried from Gamescom. I was literally getting up like super early and watching the entire stream, whether it be in German or not. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, "What the hell is this? Like, what are we watching here? When did waking up this is going to happen?"
Waking up, going, "Wait, did I play Wolfenstein last night? Why is everything? Is this a dream? Why is everything in German?"
How great was Wolfenstein? Oh man. It was
all three of the new ones. Wolfenstein back in the day too was great, but like the newer ones, the three of them.
I got all the Wolfensteins in like some huge like bundle Xbox was doing, and I just took a couple weeks, man, and did nothing but play Wolfenstein because I hadn't played the games before. And dude, he is just a badass. He is like a real crazier Punisher. Like, and just like hearing his story, man. I was a little worried. I was a little worried when he almost got when let's just say they thought they got him, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Who wouldn't be worried when you see what happens to him?
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be worried the entire game? I mean, that's what was great about it. Like, you're just constantly surrounded by literal Nazis.
Yeah, and the kicks feel good. Like everything, the punches, the shooting, the weapons are really fun. Like I still want to get back there and play that, but there's just been so much going on because there was more to do even after the campaign. Like you go down and hunt some more Nazis and some Nazis. Love
to play an open world.
Oh yeah,
Wolfenstein.
Yeah, but where you can make a dude character though, right? And not just. I mean, I don't care what character you make, man. Like I always said, it doesn't bother me, but listen, it bothers you when 50% of the population that makes a female character in the game.
Depends on the hitbox, though. That drives competitive advantage. Yeah. Drives my decision making. If the hitbox is smaller on female characters, right, that's what I'll pick. Right. That's why. So Destiny 2, I remember, or was it Destiny 1, where the female hitbox was like.
I can't
a little bit smaller.
I think it does work that way for Destiny, at least, because there's still a lot of pros, if you will, who are doing that. And the second argument is always just like, well, I just like the form, like the clothes look better on them. It's just okay, whatever.
Well, there's a form that they're staring at. That's for sure.
Right? They just outed themselves. Like, especially the people who do it just because they want to have something nice to look at when they're, running behind their character there. Like, they just outed themselves as a creep. Easily.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, Gamescom though, man, it was so.
There's a bummer.
What was really kind of disappointing too is that Geoff Keighley came out and was like, "Oh, last year everybody got on us about it being an indie games fest, and not really." And then following that up, like the next night, I mean, other than like I said, Call of Duty, Rogue Squadron,
right,
like World of Warcraft, I guess, like some of those bigger kind of game titles.
I had a heart palpitation when you said Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I did that too.
Triggered,
right. But outside of that, it was nothing. And, you made a very bold prediction on the Series X. I'm sure you weren't the only one that felt that way. It was honest. I feel like it was a missed opportunity. That was the perfect time. The gaming world's eyes were upon you all over the world because so many things had gotten canceled, so many announcements, so many,
that's right,
like lack of leaks and stuff like that. and they still did nothing.
And
they
fucking Jeff Grubb, man. You know, everyone was following the people who are like making these videos and putting out these videos about predictions, and when we can hear something next, like reasonably next, are people who follow this guy named Jeff Grubb. And I'll admit I don't know a lot about him, but what I will admit on this show, Cross, that I don't really think. No. Okay.
You have a stroke.
I was. I can do this. I was. I'll work on that.
Check 1 2.
I'll work on that.
Is everybody alive over there?
I'll work on that later.
But
let's just say I was almost not. If you get my drift.
Yeah, I got you. But for the people who may not get you,
I got to build that energy back up all over again. I don't think we were the only ones who were thinking that the Series X announcement could happen. Then I think a lot of people were really wanting it to be, because we needed like an announcement. They need like some kind of an event to show it off, and they really let a lot of people down. You think
they're going to have to delay it?
I almost made a tweet earlier saying something about watch the Series X get delayed, but no. Like what's going on is that they're either looking to bundle it with something else or launch something else with the Series X, or they're waiting for Sony to say what to make an announcement to say what their price is. And like the only reason I say it, so a lot of people are under the impression that they're doing this stare down and like they want Sony to reveal the price so they can go cheaper, and it's not that. It's just they're looking at each other and they know their prices, but they want to say there's second, not to undercut them, because they already have. You know what I mean? Like they already have everything set them, so everyone's going to think, oh, they're going to lower their price as soon as Sony announces it. No, it's going to be the same that it's always been with them.
You can't run your business half cocked like that.
Yeah,
be like, we're going into the board meeting. So what's the price? We don't even know, dude. We're going to wait until Sony comes out with theirs. And whatever they do, it's going to be less than that. We'll figure it all out in the end. Sure they'll be like, okay, all right, Uncle Phil.
We got it covered, bruh.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Jesus, if people played if people did things that way, I would not invest in that company one bit. But everyone's just so confident that that's exactly how it's going on right now. That just tells you how much people really understand. And so Sony's doing the lottery to get a chance to pre-order it, right? And so this is a perfect time. They know they're not going to sell as many as the Series X right off the bat, because it's obviously the more powerful console. That's what a lot of people want. So they're going to give themselves an excuse and say that we only have a limited amount available. so that their sales numbers will be like, oh, they aren't like completely toppling us. It's just we only wanted so many units to sell right off the bat. Well, why? Why did they do it like that? No, but you made a good point about the Mountain Dew thing. That was one thing I was going to bring up, and that was pretty cool. The whole game.
You mean
fuel.
Monster?
Yeah. We'll the comparison between Monster and Game Fuel, and then the event that they're launching now. Which I told my wife, if you see any Halo Monster Energy cans, just buy them all. She went, how many you want? All of them.
All of the Monster cans. Hey, yeah, it'll be. Have you ever seen Parks and Rec before? There was a scene where Ron Swanson, I think he's like sad or something like that. He goes to like this diner and he goes, I want all of your bacon. And they're like, okay, coming right up. And he goes, no, hold on. I'm afraid what you heard is that I want a lot of bacon. What I said was, I want all of your bacon. So that's going to be like me and you. It's like, hey, I want all of the Monster cans. They'll be like, okay, well, how many? He's like, no. What I'm afraid you just heard me say is that I want a lot. I want all of them. Every last one.
But didn't you just recover from like a horrible blood pressure incident that almost killed you? All of the Monster cans.
IGN released an article that showed kind of what we would be looking at. And then Halo Infinite also had some other big news since we last talked.
Yeah, they did.
So this is from Jason Schreier. I probably pronounced that right, but you can follow him at Jason Schreier. It looks like they broke this on Bloomberg, but Halo is bringing in Joseph Staten, who is a main figure in Halos 1, 2, and 3 to get this back on the rails. How do you feel about that?
That was the guy who gave Halo 1 through 70 all of their, flavors that they needed to make it feel like a Halo game. I have a feeling he probably helped out even a little bit with Halo Infinite over the past few years that they've been allegedly working on it. I say allegedly. How did it get? I don't. That's a whole other topic, though. How it got to where it's at now, and still after 5 years. But he also worked a little bit on Destiny, Destiny 1, probably pre-Destiny, right before its launch. So if there was any kind of Halo vibes that you felt going in there, that there was definitely that. There's a building in Destiny on Mars where you turn around, you look, and it's Master Chief's head or whatever. But you didn't realize when you were in the building. It's only when you walk out of there and turn around, go down a hill or whatever, and you see it's like, oh, that is Master Chief's helmet. That's pretty cool. They also do another homage to him when you're looking for Cade Six's stash in the Cosmodrome, and there's a whole bunch of pods in this old rusted Cosmodrome where the story was all those ships left during the Golden Age to colonize the other planets, but some of them just wanted to stay around and, put themselves in a pod and cryo freeze themselves to get some rest for a few 100,000 years or whatever. And they were hinting at that was Master Chief's pod that you see eventually in the mission in Destiny. So there's a lot of these things that they put in there before the game launched. And I have a feeling he had his hand in a lot of that, as did, other Bungie developers that were there. But this guy, if there was any guy that they wanted to bring in, he was the guy. He gave Halo that little something special, the little pickle juice secret recipe that made it Halo. And I trust him. I hope he does make it good. There was another rumor saying that it might not even be out until 2022, which that rumor came out as soon as we published our second show, or our first show about me. When I said that I don't think they could get away with it. And I said, well, they can do whatever they want. If anyone heard that, and me say that, like, those are a poor choice of words. So I don't think they can get away with it. But I mean, get away with it without hearing from the internet about it. I don't know. I think that's still true.
So I guess I also kind of wanted to talk about Gamescom too. There was my note here for Gamescom when I was watching it. I was taking notes, so I would have a couple of games. I put wow with a whole bunch of Z's like I was sleeping, and then much wow, so excitement, because man, was it flat.
Yeah.
It was not at all what we expected. I think you and I both went into it kind of expecting a mini E3 almost, or if not a mini E3, kind of a big E3, because E3 was canceled.
Santa Keighley said he had a sound stage, and we saw him like doing live little Q&As throughout the stage, showing us around. And I'm like, this looks kind of nice. This might actually be something here. And then we see Doc Brown, Brown.
What was the big surprise? That's what I've been left.
I think Doc Brown was the big surprise. That's what I'm not even kidding. I don't know what he was referring to. He even went on and he saw all the people saying Xbox Series X ? And he saw it, but then he looked past that and said, no, there's going to be no Final Fantasy, or there's going to be no Elden Ring. For some reason, everyone will not shut the fuck up about Elden Ring. It is everywhere. That's all people were talking about in the chats at Gamescom. It was like Elden Ring, or Elden Ring in German. Oh, were you able to tune in on Saturday in the morning? Because I did. It was just all German. I had woke up and almost thought that we had lost the war. It was that in German. And so people were saying like nine this, schlalish this. And then all of a sudden I just started typing, fuck this. I was like, do And then I waited a little bit. And then I said, "Du hast." And then like the chat got so quiet. And then I said it again. I was like, "Du." And then there was some other guys and Americans in the chat with me who started going along with me and saying, "Du hast mich." So, I had some Germans yelling at me like, "Nine." I'm not even kidding. You can go back and look at the event, the Twitch logs. This totally happened. And so through like about like the next couple hours, I had like some little Rammstein sing along going on in the Twitch chat.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
I am so bad. Can't take me anywhere, Cross.
No, we cannot. That's for sure.
I kept seeing other people.
He's the life of the party.
Other people's posts were in Twitch were saying that they were saying to get him out of here. Not, but then there were some other rude guys who were getting their messages banned, and they were getting kicked out. But the guy starting this like Rammstein sing along, I know I got to stay in there as long as I wanted. Oh man,
goddamn.
What, you gonna kick a guy out for singing? Huh? Would you kick Frank Sinatra out for singing? I bet you wouldn't. I bet you would.
Bitch, I might. That's all I have to say to that.
Bitch, I
can't tell me what to do. And stuff like that, I think that we can definitely keep in there.
Yeah, might as well, because I mean,
then you can cut me out of it because I'm not part of the shit.
Well, no, you were gone for a little while until you.
Yeah. I had shit I had to take care of.
Oh, you're fine, man. It's all good. Yeah. I mean, we're
like, oh shit,
we're still
cat
doing
medication.
Our thing.
And oh shit, this little bastard is like spazzy as hell and jumps off the walls. I get him a prick in a jar and keep him entertained for a little bit.
September 4th has got a couple of interesting ones. You got Marvel's Avengers, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry though. We got Crash Bandicoot 4.
Oh God. And we really want, and we're introducing a new female character into the Crash Bandicoot series, Coco, and we really wanted to take our time with Coco. It was really important to us. Yeah. So everything you play as Crash, you'll be able to play as Coco, and it'll be even more interesting if you do choose to play with Coco.
Yeah, we wanted to make it. We really wanted to take our time so much that we literally just copied and pasted a female skin onto Crash Bandicoot. So good luck, everyone.
Yeah, we put a little extra TVs in the background, some outside
Assassin's
lighting.
Creed Valhalla.
It's gonna. I don't care what anyone. People can hate on that all they want. We're gonna be playing it a fuck ton. Like it's gonna be a fun game. We'll
have a full week with Beyond Light expansion for Destiny 2 before Assassin's Creed comes up.
Why am I'm looking? It's like I'm just going to work every time I play that game. Why do I feel that way? The only way I will play that game is on PC now, because like 30 frames. Fuck that, man. That is criminal. That just cannot happen. Like, why would they do that for PvP now? But like before, especially with this 55-inch TV that I have now, the C9, there's so much I could say about the C9. It's great, right? But the C10 is the one that's getting FreeSync Premium Pro, and they could add it to the C9 if they wanted, but they won't, because of all the shit that they got for coming out with the CX or the C10. What they're called both. But the CX is going to have FreeSync Premium Pro and the and G-Sync. But the thing is, though, FreeSync Premium Pro, I'm told, so the Series X will have VRR, variable refresh rate, which has all those cool things like eARC. It has the enhanced audio. It's got like no screen tearing, so it's going to make for really smooth gaming. But with Premium Pro, FreeSync Premium Pro, and that the Series X will have that. There's this thing called LFC, and that's low frame rate compensation. I don't know exactly how it works, but I can already tell that it's something that I would have wanted. But everyone's just like, oh, you don't need FreeSync with the new Series X because your TV has VRR, and that's true. That's to some extent. But if a low frame rate compensation turns out to be like a pretty big deal, I'm going to be pretty salty about it. that it didn't, that the TV didn't come with it. But they should give an update eventually. LG did come out and say at the time we don't have plans to give the C9 FreeSync Premium Pro. So it was a C9 that only stands with G-Sync at this moment. And like, I'm bringing it up now because I think it's important to talk about, because I mean, when I was buying the TV, I was letting you know exactly how many were left and how many people were selling. If you went to Amazon, it would say 17 left, then 10 left or whatever. But I almost think, like, if you put your tinfoil hat on, like, that's a strategy that they do with some shoppers. But for this, I don't think it was, because literally everyone in the comments was talking about how they just got a C9 or a C10 or a C10, but mainly the C9. It's the most popular new TV for the next gen. It was so safe because all the ports had HDMI 2.1. They were full spec HDMI, so you get the full 48 gigabits per second data transfer back to and fro. The CX, though, only has 40 gigabytes of data. And so I brought up the question, and I'm still wondering. I've asked a couple people on YouTube about it. One of them said they weren't really sure. They'll look into it. But when you know how the Xbox Series X has Super Sample, the PS4 Pro has it too, and that's basically super sampling is the downscaling of 4K and converting it to 1080p, but making the 1080p like, it's basically just like, fitting into those skinny jeans you wish you could still wear, but it crams all that into 1080p with a lot more detail, a lot more colors. And I'm wondering if the same thing is going to be happening. Xbox is advertising the Series X as being 4K, 8K ready, which 8K gaming, that's not going to be a thing for a while. It's still hard for some games to get even 4K right at this point, and some shows, but shows it's a lot more necessary. But what I'm thinking is game developers and movie photo shoots, all this stuff, they like to shoot and film in 8K, and then they downscale to 4K. That's how they're doing things like right now. But I'm wondering if game developers are going to be doing the same thing.
Well, it'll really be for the streaming services, right? These massive budgets. I mean, Netflix really was the first one to pioneer 4K streaming.
Yep.
And like getting movies and shows into 4K.
Yep. And then YouTube
you even see, YouTube followed, Amazon followed, Disney Plus, the Mandalorian.
Yep.
But, you look around and like, I'm a big sports fan or whatever, and even those are not being filmed in 4K yet. Like live sports is still not being filmed in 4K. So.
Right. Well, that, my friend, I have news. It's about to change.
Oh, I know it's about to change, but it's
about to be big, dude. I wanted to change so bad. I want to go back to TGIF back when we were kids. That's what I want. I miss those days. It was on ABC, TGIF, but like, so there's going to be this new thing in it, and it actually came with the LG CX this year, or the C10, and it's called NT. I think it's NTSC or CS or something like that, 3.0. Either way, it's what. If everyone thought that your local television, your cable televisions were just irrelevant now, that is not going to be the case. Now our consoles and our computers are going to be struggling to keep up with them and the signals that they're going to be sending out. I think it's over 5G, but they're about to go up to like 8K, 10K even. It's full, very good hertz, very good smooth frame rate, and all these commercials, car commercials, all of these fast food commercials, they're going to be looking better than any 4K setup that you have on your Xbox or PlayStation, and it's so ahead of its time.
The frame rates have got to be there though, right? Because I am so tired of going to people's houses where their TV refreshes at 60 hertz.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, look at my new 4K TV. It's like, well, I can't tell because you've only got 60 frames.
That's
like, you know what I mean? Like, it's only 60 hertz. It takes, and it's a 65-inch TV. You're not getting 60 frames. It takes a minute.
Right. And
like,
those streamers too, when they stream their content, like on Twitch and stuff, I heard one of them say, well, what I'm looking at is like 240 frames, bro. But you're seeing this at like 1080p, 30 or whatever piece of shit you're on. But what I'm looking
at Ninja.
No, I actually wasn't thinking of Ninja at the point. I'm not going to say who I was thinking of because this guy's a cool guy. I don't want to do that, but I'm just saying, if anyone, don't cancel your cable provider contract yet. if you're really thinking about not staying with them anymore, because that would be a mistake. Because I can't wait to
get an IPTV.
Yeah,
and an IPTV, so you're streaming all of whatever it is that they're doing with questionable legality.
That's right. We're looking at you, bootleggers.
Yeah. I mean, the people that are out streaming that's questionable legality. It's completely illegal to stream it though, because I have one.
I laugh. We'll
cut that out in post production.
Yeah. When someone stands up in the movie theaters, that's great. Really makes me feel makes me feel back to when my wife and I just had a laptop to watch movies on before we started when we moved in. Like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, have you ever seen like an IPTV before? Because I've been using mine for years now.
No, so what? Wait, is that the one you like the Vader or something? Is that what you were telling me about?
Yeah, so Vader streams, there was an issue where whatever panel they were using, I guess the person in the UK got like raided. So they all had to shut down. But he was doing other nefarious things. It wasn't like...
That's rude.
Yeah, it wasn't like what he was actually doing was illegal. I think is the way that the UK system works. He had to have pretty much a permit for all of the streams that he had, and he just didn't have it. But so what it does is that it just streams directly to you. So it lags a little bit behind like traditional cable or whatever. But I mean, I only pay like $15 a month, so I have over 10,000 channels. Irish, I can watch Afghani cricket if I want to.
Oh, dude, you got to get me in on that Afghani cricket. Just screen share. Yeah,
you got it.
That's all I need.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of it is like really clear, really, really crystal clear, and it breaks it up into categories, which is nice. Especially around like sports season. So I get every single game that's out there, every basketball game, every football game. The reason why I got it is because my cable package, I didn't have NBA TV.
Yeah.
There was a game like 2 years ago. I think it was between the Minnesota Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets, and it was effectively a play-in game.
Right.
So whoever won that game was going to go to the playoffs, and the loser was going to go home.
Playoffs?
And it was on NBA TV, and I didn't have NBA TV. And I like from that day, I was just like, this is never going to happen to me again.
Yeah.
I refuse. I was so pissed. I couldn't watch it. It was a good game too, and I never again. I said, and now
that's right.
And now look at me. Now I can watch a game for Afghani cricket in a language that I don't.
Fuck you, Dad.
Yeah. So that's the origin of my my IPTV.
I really need to get one of those. I'm really thinking about getting a new monitor. That Samsung G7 monitor looked so nice. Quantum dots. Like I don't have a quantum dots in my life anymore, Cross. I don't know what I'm gonna do without those oversaturated colors. But like there was so much I wasn't using.
Yeah.
I always like to recalibrate my TV to make it look more realistic with a hint of like colorfulness. But like when you in real life, when you look at people, it's very like I don't want to say pastel, but it's like I don't know. It's like everything you see on on your TV, on your 4K crystal clear TV, but take the colors out of it. Like that's real life. Because like what these movies and shows do, especially in HDR, is they just drown out all your colors and things like that. But like quantum dots have a way of displaying that makes it look really nice. I think that's what I'm going to go with. But also the giant ass curve from the G7 monitors. That's hot. LED lights, RGB I can see. So I love the RGB on my monitor right now. It's in the back, right? You can't really see it, but it's there. It's there.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Did you ever look into the crowdfunding monitors and stuff? I know that I sent you the Spectre link.
Yeah. And
so I pulled the trigger on that.
I see. I'm really thinking about it, but I need a curved monitor. I really do. You're talking about the what was the name?
It was from Spectre.
Spectre.
Let me see if I can pull it up. Yep.
Yeah, I think it was the same one that I sent you a link about like months ago. And Timmy, I think Timmy knew something about it. I was talking to him about it. Maybe you were gone, but I was basically saying, hey, have you heard about these new monitors coming out? They look really awesome. I'm not sure if I'm going to get them, but like but they're not curved.
It's called the Eve Spectrum.
Eve Spectrum.
Spectrum, more power, no compromise.
Are there any curved options available?
There are no curved options. The options that they have is that you could get QHD 144 hertz.
Right.
You could get Spectrum QHD 240 hertz, or you could get Spectrum 4K at 144 hertz. Those are the three options.
Must be nice.
Each one is $100 more than the last, I think. Maybe I'm off base on that.
See, I would totally do this, but like, I don't know. I feel like really immersed when I use the curved monitor, and it just.
So if you want a stand, it's $99. You only have to pay $100.
Wait, it's not $1,000?
Yeah, no. But so for the Spectrum QHD 144 hertz, it's $419.
Nice.
Spectrum 240 hertz is $569, and Spectrum 4K at 144 hertz is $669.
I love geeking out about this. I know a lot of people do too. Just when you just look at this stuff, it just just look at it.
Yeah, I mean the specs on this thing are so impressive.
HDMI is an LG panel. LG panel.
HDMI 2.1. So there's two HDMI 2.1s. They have one display port and one USB Type C. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, do they have more than that? Three USB Type A's, one USB Type. Yeah, okay. So it's got multiple USB ports and multiple HDMI ports, a display port. So it's fancy.
HDMI display port, USB B, USB C, USB A, USB A, USB A, and auxiliary. Fuck me.
Yeah, color depth is 10-bit or 8-bit plus A FRC.
Wow.
Pixel density is 163 ppi.
And they do 4K 120.
Yeah. It's the LG panels too. I mean, that's really like that really got me excited because LG panels are quite nice. So 27-inch monitor, which is in my opinion the perfect size. Like I know you like to play on your TV. I don't know how the hell you do it. I have a 32-inch LG monitor over here, and I just use that for like watching single player games.
It ain't easy, bro. It ain't easy. And you told me that once you go up past 50, like it's gets a little tricky navigating those waters. And you were not wrong.
Yeah,
I remember it was gaming on the back.
I remember gaming on a 55-inch before I switched over to a monitor back when I only played console.
Yeah.
And man, did I get like instantly better going to a smaller screen.
Yeah.
Like your reaction time, everything is just so much better.
Without a doubt. But my old 240 hertz 46-inch Sammy that I have in the bedroom, that thing rocks in 1080p. Like 240 hertz 1080p game mode. Like that's insane. Like that is an insane ass TV. It's also a 3D TV too, so I could play all those games in 3D and still have the same like hardly any kind of processing thing going on back there. Like that's this little secret weapon I have in the back that my wife and daughter are usually watching stuff on when I'm out here doing stuff like this.
Yeah,
literally everyone on Twitter is trying to figure out what exactly is going on and why no one said anything. You know what? Here's something I didn't think about, and that was what if how NVIDIA had their showing today about what was going and so the 3080. By the way, did you see how much VRAM it gets?
No, I haven't looked at it yet. I was so busy at work today.
10 gigabits
that I didn't have
of VRAM. You want to know how much the 3090 gets?
How much?
24. 24, and it's going to be $14.99.
Big yikes.
Yeah, but the 3080 though is going to be $700.
Oof. As the kids say. Oof.
Yeah. I think that's a great price. That's what it should be. But I think at the same time, 10 gigabytes, I'm mad, but then I got to think about, they came out with the super variant of the 2080, the 6 months or so later, maybe almost a year later, effectively screwing over anyone who got the regular 2080 like myself. But so they basically turned the 2070 Super into a 2080 because they even gave them the same die and they're very similar in speeds. So so they got like a big increase for that. But the 2080 people, the only thing else above that was a 2080 Super, which was a 5% increase, which it seems like a decent amount, maybe, but it wasn't at all. It's like literally the 2080 Super though did have faster RAM, like clocked RAM than the 2080 Ti. And that's like the only like cool thing about the 2080 Super. The 2080 Ti has 11 gigabits of RAM, which is pretty standard for Ti things like your 1080 Ti, right? And the 11 gigabytes is like the cap right now for a lot of games, especially like, I guess, games like Final Fantasy, whatever. But it's like they basically use all of that. And it's still, it could use even more. But to give the 3080 10 gigabits of VRAM, like I know I sound like a nerd and I'm just like nerding out over this right now, but it really bugs me because the 3090 is getting 24. Like what the hell? Like what the hell? Like we were supposed to be, it was supposed to be around 16. Like it was the leak, and I'm like, dude, that's great. That is very, very great. I think it's a very generous amount, and that would have been a very good thing. But maybe we'll get a super variant of it at some point in time.
I would imagine that's what it's like. You know, that's what will happen because it seems to be the way of all technology. You know what I mean? Like you have the Xbox One, then you have the Xbox One X. You have the PS4, and then the PS4 Pro. So chances are, it's they're gonna sell you the DLC later.
yeah. But like the Xbox Series X is still a win right now. But the reason I brought up Nvidia, they had their show today, but also what if they aren't showing barely any gameplay? And I mean very, very, very little gameplay because AMD has them on a contract that they can't really show off too much of their stuff. So AMD has a contract with Xbox to make their own custom processor for it, and they have, and apparently it's working really, really well. And Sony also has their own custom variant too. Sony was able to show a lot of games on a lot of gameplay on the PS5, but they're also the weaker console. So, so they also have a much different chip than what Xbox has. They're definitely not identical. They only work similar. Like the only thing they have in common is that they were both custom made by AMD. So like Xbox is going to be on full RDNA 2, which is their AMD's architecture. But what I do know is that PS5 will not be on RDNA 2. Xbox will not be on RDNA 2 Plus because that's reserved for the big Navi cards coming out. They might be, contractually obligated not to show much off. The only thing that they really showed of gameplay was Medium, is what I'm hearing from people. Maybe Dirt 5 or the new Dirt game coming out had some, but other than that, like, I don't think it would have been. I don't think anything has been shown that's too significant, and people are like, "Well, why is Xbox not showing off any of this stuff?" It's like they've got all this power, and they really haven't shown off any games, hardly any games running on it, or at least any games that people care about, or enough substantial footage of it. So we're all just kind of left in the dark here, wondering why we're not seeing that and why they haven't announced the price yet. But maybe if we see an announcement from AMD, maybe it'll start raining. We'll start getting some more information and more gameplay footage of it. But the fact that they came out tonight and also said that they're not going to be showing any next gen news at the Tokyo conference on September 21st. At first, I was like, "Oh my god, what? No way! You're really going to make us wait another month, or not at all?" But no. But as soon as I thought about that, I'm like, "No, we'll be waiting. We won't be waiting much longer. There's only a couple of weeks left."
Yeah, and I really personally can't remember a time where the well has been so dry with so little. I mean, Xbox went out of its way to hype up the Xbox One X for a while. For a while, like almost from the moment that they officially announced Project Scorpio was underway, where they started to hype it up. With the Series X, they're just talking about, they hyped up the 12 teraflops. That was Uncle Phil's big big kind of reveal.
Yeah.
That was kind of what he kept going back to, what he kept bragging about over and over again, which especially at that time, what was that, like 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
That was really understandable. But I mean, other than that, I mean, like you said, it does almost feel like there's something holding them back from talking about it.
Yeah.
And if it's something contractual with AMD, that would make sense.
Yeah. It's one of the more interesting things. Again, that not a lot of people are talking about.
Or maybe they're holding back so Sony can't run all their games on their console yet.
True.
Like they did last time.
True. Yeah. God, that was funny when they paid like for Anthem when they used the Xbox One X footage, and then they just pasted over they did a shitty job of pasting PlayStation buttons on there in the lower right hand screen. But then again, the next year, I guess Xbox did that with some PS4 Pro footage for some game. I can't remember what game, but apparently they did the same thing right back. I don't know if that was just a hey, we're going to do it to you too because you did it to us kind of deal. I doubt they're that they're going to be that weird about it.
So we do have TGS 2020 coming up here. I'm just kind of looking at the schedule here. Mm-hmm. Microsoft Japan rather is on the opening day, which is Thursday the 24th of September 2020. It's a pretty soft opening. It's got Microsoft coming up, and then Lightning Games closes out the night with Square Enix in between. Other than that, I'm kind of looking here. Trying to see if there's anything that's Capcom will be there, Sega will be there. Konami will be there. That'll be fun.
Yes, well, Sega being there is also interesting. Capcom being there, I'm a huge Monster Hunter World fan. We just got our last update announced. It's going to be they're adding some Elder Dragon called Fatalis. I haven't got to play him yet, but man, I play the shit out of Monster Hunter World, and I can't wait to do this again.
Yeah, and PUBG looks like it's closing out the event on Sunday.
Yeah, that's why I wonder why
that's
going to be the main
block
event
too.
Yeah,
it looks like
they've got something to show.
Yeah, it looks like they've almost got like 2 hours. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't kept up with PUBG in a while.
Me either.
I haven't, because a lot of other stuff has come out, to kind of move my interest around. I know that PUBG was one of those games where the potential was so great, but they kept shooting themselves in the foot. And eventually, that kind of does kill your game after a while. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. What I've always wanted PUBG to do, what I've always wanted them is to release like 3 or 4 maps all at once. And just go, hey, nice. And like a whole bunch of different weapons and like map specific weapons to each of those drops. I feel like that would have really changed the game. And I get that that's very difficult to do, but they've kind of just refused to do so. I wonder if maybe that's something that they're going to do. Maybe something that big. Because if you've got an event, because I'm looking here, because they have it blocked off in times on this graphic that I'm looking at, and it looks like it's like a 2 to 3 hour block that they have to end the show.
Back to that thing you were saying about the multiple maps at a time. That would be great in a couple of ways, and one would be watering down the meta a little bit, so not everyone's using the same thing. I know in a game like PUBG, like a Battle Royale, some could argue that a meta isn't a thing. It's all about what you can find. But when you walk by like an M1911 or something like that, when you're going to be like, I got something better than that. Like, tell me there's not a little bit of meta, in there thinking, because everyone's going to want to try it's just what everyone thinks is the best, most popular thing being used. And launching all 4 maps at once with new weapons and stuff like that gives a lot of people time to try a lot of different things and mix things up. Because when a new update comes out in Destiny and they make these guns really bad, or they make a couple really good, or in Division when they do the same thing, people just like jump to the next most powerful thing like right away. And it really that would fix a lot of problems in games if they could just release a whole bunch of stuff. So for a couple months we're all sorting through this stuff. like Monster Hunter does something similar, especially when they do a new update with like the new Safi weapons or like being up. I know you don't know, you haven't got to play that much, but it's basically like they add like a whole bunch of different when there's like a big dragon or an elder dragon, the update that comes out, they bring like a whole bunch of different weapons out, and you can even upgrade those weapons even further. So people, YouTubers, it takes them a while to put out videos, and a few months really of just like, no one saying, oh, this is meta, that's meta, until like a couple months go by. And that's what I really like, because that's when people really enjoy stuff, is when, they're not being forced to keep this thing because it's the best, or have a whole storage vault full of like 30 different items because it could be nerfed, or it wouldn't, or it might be buffed. Like, that's the biggest thing in these looter shooters. And Monster Hunter World, it's also I don't want to say looter shooter, but it is a loot game. Like, everything you're wearing, you've killed. Or, and every weapon you're using, you have. So I think that's just a really sound idea for PUBG and for other games.
Yeah, I agree, because it's kind of that lull where you really fall in love with a game when you're trying to find your own way.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of times as gamers, we get very wrapped up in like what's the best, and watching all these different YouTube videos and trying to figure out what exactly the meta is, what the best build is. But when you're first playing a new game, like say the Division 2 or Destiny 2 or whatever, you're kind of finding your own way. Like you're just trying things out that kind of work for you. And I feel like big releases all at once kind of give you that feel back, where you're like, oh, well, this stuff is all different. Let me try. I guess the one thing that you have to be careful with in a game like Destiny, which you wouldn't really have this power or this problem with in PUBG, is power creep. I could see very easily how like just releasing a whole bunch of stuff in Destiny could really throw the game balance out of whack. But in PUBG, you're not really going to have that issue, because like you said, there's a lot of an RNG to each round, so to speak, where you don't really necessarily know what you're going to come up with. And so if you throw like a very wide variety out there, you give a long time for people to kind of sort out what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I in a lot of ways, I want to be able to come back to games like Gears of War, PUBG, and things that don't, require so much of a FOMO, the whole fear of missing out kind of thing. That's with season pass models. It's just made that even stronger, and it's made to the point where it's hard for me to get on games like Destiny and Division and stuff like that, because it's just, it's really toxic, especially when you have to like force people to do it. Like, raids are amazing, they're fun. Like, I come from WoW. I used to do that all the time. Like, and it was great. I've forgotten more about what I used to know about WoW, and it was good times. But at the same time, I want to play games where stuff like that doesn't matter as much, and I don't have to worry about it. And like, we can just chill and play some PUBG or Gears or GTA. It's one of those other kind of deals. I wish we could see some more games like that. But I love looter shooters. I love collecting rare stuff and being able to use it and have that give me an advantage, just because I did the grind for it. But at the same time, a lot of that stuff now the trend is to cycle it out and forced to grind for, if not the same weapons. Like in Destiny, they're literally releasing these weapons that you get that are identical to what yours are. Same name, they look the same, but the power level that you can get them up to is capped on your old stuff. So it would be like 1060 for everything you've grinded for the last 2 years, and then you'll get a gun identical to that now. That's power level 1360. It says what that level can get to now, and it just makes you regrind for those god rolls again when you already did that. And it was literally the worst idea Bungie has ever had. No one likes sunset. I don't know anybody who is okay with it. I like having to get new weapons, but I don't like having to get a new version of the exact same weapon name and look that I already have. Like, that's ridiculous. When am I supposed to take a break from this game? when like never. Like, they said that they were trying to get rid of the fear of missing out, so they stopped adding in those really cool ritual weapons and things you could use. But now not only do we not have those anymore, but we have to get stuff that we've already had, and that is so frustrating. I really hope no other game does what they did there. Like, there's a lot of good things Destiny does, but they need to handle the toxicity and this whole sunsetting thing. It's a new thing they're doing, and man, it needs ironed out. But I won't spend the rest of the time talking about that.
Yeah, that's really your Voldemort, isn't it?
It really is.
You can't. You hate talking about it, but you love it,
right? And you just want it to be better.
Yeah. Speaking of games that I would like to be better.
Yeah.
So Madden 21 dropped, and
cannot wait.
Well, I've always been a huge football fan. You know this, and I've always been a franchise guy in Madden. I think that started when I was a kid because I'm a Detroit Lions fan. Full disclosure, and we suck always. Every year we suck consistently.
But you suck good, you know.
No, we just suck.
Oh.
And it's like there's a saying around here called "Same Old Lions," where like no matter what happens, when things are about to go good, the Lions will just revert back to being terrible. Like no matter how good they are, they'll just screw it up in the end. And yeah, they'll choke. And so like from the very beginning, I've been somebody who's loved rebuilding crap teams because I would always rebuild the Lions. And so like even in those years, a couple years ago, when the Lions were pretty good, where they'd make the playoffs or whatever, I would still like go in there and like, you know, rebuild the Miami Dolphins or whoever was at the bottom.
Yeah.
But man, Madden is making that. Yeah, Madden is making that harder and harder for me to be doing. So when I tell you that there are literally 0 new franchise features in Madden 21, I mean literally 0. Not only are there 0, they took away some of the relocation teams. So there are fewer places that you can relocate your franchise to. I mean, the menus are now terrible. I like it's a copy and paste too, right? Like they literally just copy.
It sounds like it was an update. It was supposed to be an update at some point in time, but they
like listed when they were listing off like all these new things. So they introduced something called the Yard, which is like it's similar to like NFL Street in a lot of ways. They kind of wanted to get that feel back. But when they got to franchise mode, they literally had like 8 bullet points, and it sounded like a small title update. Like that's what it looked like. Yeah, and it to this day, it still has some of the same issues that Madden 20 had. So there's like this really annoying glitch where you can press A or hold A to reorder like certain positions or whatever, and it'll get stuck there, right? Like it'll be there until you either start a new game or you back the franchise and load it back in. And it's still there. It still happens.
God.
And then another one of the glitches that they had was that players that weren't rookies that were added into the game later because they either forgot to put them or they didn't put them in, they can win Rookie of the Year. Like Michael Crabtree used to win Rookie of the Year all the time as a wide receiver. He's been in the league for like 8 years. And this was last year. And this still happens. Like I had Nigel Bradham win Defensive Player of the Year. He won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. He's 30 years old. He's not a rookie. And these things just continue to happen. And so I guess the big story here is that I'm not the only one that's fed up.
You're definitely not.
The people are fed up. And if nothing else here at Reactive Reload, we are all about the people.
Always.
And so the people, so Metacritic has listed their rating of Madden at a 64 out of 100.
Oh, solid.
The users, as of yesterday when I looked at this, had it down to a 0.3 out of 10.
Yikes.
A 0.3, which officially has beaten the worst game that 2K has ever pushed out, which was 2K18. It stands at a 1.8. So this is at a 0.3.
There's a lot of people who play that. There's a lot of people.
Yeah. And on top of that, hashtag NFL drop EA was trending number 1.
Oh my God.
Worldwide. It was so bad that Pat McAfee had to talk about it on his show, and he doesn't even play video games. He has no idea what a Madden is. He just knows John Madden, the legendary coach and announcer. He has no idea what Madden is. And even he had to talk about it. So hashtag NFL drop EA was trending. And the point of that is they want the NFL to get rid of EA and let somebody else make the game, or at least get like 2K to come back and make an NFL football game for competition.
Cool. That would be really cool if they did that.
It would be. And you want to know what the most frustrating thing is? And this is where like classic Madden and NCAA football fans will come together here, is that they had a lot of the best features like coaching carousel, just a lot of really cool features, in depth. I guess it would have been recruiting in NCAA, but you could always translate that into scouting, like ways to like look at players and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They had this in NCAA 14, which is the last NCAA game ever made. And that came out in 2013. So we're now 7 years into the future, and they still can't do the things that people want when all they're asking for is just to make it more like NCAA 14. Hey, just make it more like that game that you made 7 years ago. And they still can't do it. So that's my rant on Madden 21. Awful. Don't buy it. I give it three trash cans out of 10.
three trash cans. Nice.
Out of 10. It's not good. It's like the under the hood stuff has improved a little bit. The AI and CPU has improved a little bit. The yard is a fun mode, but it's not worth $60. If you can buy it from a crackhead in an alley for like $20, then that's what you should do. But don't buy it for $60. It's not worth.
Damn, EA, word of mouth isn't looking good. Like since he gave that 3 trash cans out of 10, I'm gonna have to give it 2 little Irish Cowboys out of 10. As far as recommendations go, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to do play-by-play football a lot. That's like, especially on the radio, and girls, boys, basketball, all that stuff. I did it for years and used to travel and do it. And I have not played a single Madden game. And like being such a big gamer, like, I don't know why I haven't. I really should have. I used to play Dreamcast football back in the day, and that was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty nice, but I mean, it's nothing in comparison to what it is today. But like, good and bad. Like, it looks like it could be fun.
Honestly, if you can find roster mods for Madden 19 or Madden 20, you are better off doing that.
Yeah,
because the amount of changes that they've made are not significant enough to warrant buying a new game. And to some degree, I expected this because I feel like sports games especially really struggle because their cycle is so short when a next generation of console is coming out. But I mean, holy shit, did they drop the ball on this one?
I like seeing different things that I can see that they've been doing different things over the years with their games, but they still have to keep up with the whole like release a new game every year deal, right? Like that's something that they so I don't want to go back to Destiny, but I'm just going to say that a lot of us really wanted them to come out with Destiny 3, but what they did instead was keep Destiny 2 going and went back to the idea that originally a lot of other people wanted was to just add expansions onto and just make it Destiny, and just like how WoW did, where World of Warcraft would make big expansions and things like that. What EA is doing with Madden is they have no choice but to keep up the whole new game every year kind of deal, even if it is going to slowly get watered down. This really does sound like it was supposed to be a big update to the game at some point in time. But does a game like that should we even expect big updates from Madden, or are we just going to wait for the next one?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't even know. I guess they would be relatively early on in the next development cycle for Madden 22 that maybe they could implement a lot of these changes.
Yeah.
But honestly, I wouldn't expect to see any of what the community is talking about until 2022. So if you're looking to get back into Madden, there has been a huge uproar. So I mentioned hashtag NFL drop EA a couple weeks ago when they announced kind of all of their new features, and where they kind of listed the 8 bullet points for a franchise, which, like I said, was more like a small title update for it.
Yeah.
Hashtag fix Madden franchise was trending to the point that EA had to respond to.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was number 1 trending, but it must have been pretty damn close. Like, unless there was something very important going on in the world at the time, that would have been the number 1 thing. So it's been too long for me to remember, maybe about a month and a half ago, but they actually had to respond and talk. They just blew, sunshine and rainbows up our ass as Madden fans are like, oh, we are recommitting to franchise mode. And it's like, okay, yeah, we'll see. Because the problem is, right, is that we're not the trading card game, right? Like they have Madden Ultimate Team, which it's effectively a virtual trading card game where you'll get trading cards. They have like a certain overall, and then you take them online and you play with them and stuff like that. I've never been a huge fan of that, but people spend hundreds of dollars on this stuff, right? Whereas as a Madden franchise player, I'm going to give them $60 and that's it. And so they don't really care about little old me.
EA, that seems to be a popular response with EA with a lot of their games. I don't think there's ever really been a notable, we're looking into it other than, Star Wars Battlefront because that caused such an uproar. But like when DICE and Battlefield 4 took out their pre-join, make a group before you join into the game, man, I went on Twitter and made it formed a goddamn movement that would not stop until they put that back in there. And it was literally the most annoying thing ever where you couldn't join up with the group. It was amazing in Battlefield 3, but they took it out. But when I tweeted at them that the whole thing that started that Twitter thing, the Twitter group off about this, was that they responded and saying, well, we just wanted to go a different way. And hearing that response, about Madden, it just makes me think that that's like their initial go-to response if there's not enough people complaining about it, to really do something. Like they didn't do anything wrong. This was their plan all along. Instead of a feature they just forgot to add in or didn't want to take the time to add in. It was really the most inconvenient thing. Not like I'm just supposed to get lucky and think, we're all, hey guys, everyone click join at the same time. Really? And maybe two of us will get in. And it's better luck next time. Get good, scrub.
Yeah, but what's weird, and this would obviously be unique to Madden, is that they came out recently with a new game mode called Face of the Franchise. And you take control of a player, there's a storyline, and the whole point of it is to onboard new users onto franchise mode. So it's really baffling to me that they would put all this work into Face of the Franchise, creating a new mode and stuff like that. And it definitely has its flaws. It's not that great of a game mode, don't get me wrong. But if your goal is this is our story that we're going to present to you, and then we're going to kick you off into, because it literally leads right into franchise mode after you're done with all the story elements.
Yeah.
And so they're onboarding new users onto the franchise mode, and then they just completely ignore franchise mode. I don't understand what the strategy here is. Is it to make people hate franchise? Because it's the longest running feature. Is their goal to make people hate franchise mode so much that they just drop all of their money and spend all of their money on Madden Ultimate Team? Maybe. If I put on my Alex Jones tinfoil hat, that's where the evidence would lead me, is all I'm going to say.
Just so everyone's leaving New York just to lower the prices of real estate. Yeah,
exactly.
Jesus. So working title, EA is at it again with their bullshit.
Yeah. It's really, given all, at the end of the day, EA is just a video game company, right? At the end of the day. We're just trying to make our money, For them to be voted the most evil company in the world, and all they do is video games, should tell you everything that you need to know about EA.
I would be terrified if EA ever started the Save the Children fund.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Looks like we're going to have to wrap it up there. Thank you guys for coming. Hopefully there's going to be a lot more. Hope you liked it. You can follow the show at Reactive Reload on Twitter. You can follow me at The Irish Cowboy, No Take Backsies, and Crossover at Reactive Brandon. You guys have a good day, night, whatever the hell time it is you're watching this. We fucking love you.